flour, all of that, and we can add some spices, some bay leaves or that. I just wanted to say a good old pickle. Things that we've had when we were young. A lot of times I'll just eat a pickle, and I know that I'm getting my probiotics. Okay, thank you, Deborah, for letting me interject into what you were going to have a question for me. Thank you so much.
Sure. One of my daughters is a pickle freak, and she's all natural too. And she has made, jarred them up and all, and we've actually given her some fun gifts, big jars of pickles, and she goes crazy. But I wanted to get back to...
I could get along with her.
Yes. Getting back to, you mentioned you're doing this cleanse for your kidneys, and one of your guests that you had just recently had kidney issues, and he's been doing herbs and a lot of pineapple. So do you do a lot of organic pineapple as well?
I haven't been as well, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't, because we learn from each other. And sometimes, like, when somebody mentions, like you're asking me, I'll say, oh, yeah, that I haven't done that for a while. Because every food, every organic part is good for our body. There isn't anything that isn't intelligence and living in it. I mean, that's how we just know that all the plant-based that comes from the garden, that's organic, and that's certified, obviously, but when you're growing it in your own garden and you know your own soil and all of that. So, yes, pineapple, I'd say, boy, as you even said that, it sounded delicious to me. So we always say, go by your appetite, but pineapple is really good because it just is another one that's good for the kidneys, and it's like a very purifying blood with the bloods and the water and releasing a lot of toxins. But all food. The funny thing is, I'm hearing nowadays, Deborah, is this will not have you will not have cancer if you eat this. But what I have learned, that anything that is of the living plant, the more life you can get into you, and not canned, processed food, which we call dead food, living or dead.
Right.
Because we want to have the intelligence of the plant kingdom to add its intelligence and its life to us, which we are knowing that we've got a lot of work to do. And it can be a long time when you start not feeling good to feel good. But it's being patient and knowing that you're on the right track. And when you have, for myself, so many wonderful things that I once had, I do not have anymore. And then it's just a great barometer to know that we're on the path to regeneration. And right. More spontaneity, because we're feeding as much life as we can get into it. We don't eat 100% raw in our house. No. At wintertime, we cook, but we do it at a threshold energy. So when we're cooking something like a potato, and I make a dressing that I gave on the last show, and then just barely do the potatoes, and then I put it through the omega juicer and the potato, and then it's like a mashed potato, but it's raw and it's threshold, and it's still considered raw. But it's interesting, all the little tricks you learn for your taste buds, that maybe you love that potato, and so you don't take away things that you would love. You just get creative.
Recreate it in a way that is whole.
Yeah,
yes.
You've found that, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely.
You have a recipe that you were talking to me earlier that you didn't share, and I'd love to have that, my recipes. And so,
well,
do you mind
I'm
sharing
happy to share it when we come back from our break. We're going to be going out, and I wanted to give your information. Again, Debara Bruhn Towt is the host of the Second Genesis Awakening. That is every Monday, 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Her personal site is Call In All Angels. Call In, no G, callinallangels.com. And do go on their website you can actually purchase books. There's 2 large, amazing, informative encyclopedias of their journey and the plant-based, and it has some scriptures in it that's weaved through and just beautiful. And their website is thehumanaccelerator.org. Again, thehumanaccelerator.org. And you can become a member, and there's different things that they offer, so check that out. Don't go away. We'll be back more, and we're going to share some recipes.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Debara Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Ever wonder what it's like to have your own radio show? Well, wonder no longer, because you can dip into the radio airwaves by being host for the day on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. It's a fabulous way to get your radio feet wet. It's an opportunity to market your business, modality, or book. Have a guest, mention a sponsor, and take callers. Or you may want to facilitate a lesson by going solo. It's up to you. Listeners can be online, mobile, in cars with Bluetooth, or listen through Amazon's Echo by asking, Alexa, play Dream Vision 7 radio network. For more details, go to dreamvision7radio.com and click on Host for the Day.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first grade teacher Caitlin Roy DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those 2 questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowdfunded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Looking for a fun and relaxing getaway? Omega Rest and Rejuvenation Retreats are a great way to unwind and renew your spirit. Stroll through the garden, relax by the lake, or try a daily yoga or movement class. You can stretch your body, quiet your mind, and do as much or as little as you choose. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back. Anyone that would like to call in to the live show, feel free. Bob is in the house, and our number is 833-220-1200. Again, 833-220-1200. You may have a question for Debara or want to share something that you do in your day-to-day that feeds your body fully. We'd love to hear from you. So the recipe, Debara's with me, Debara Bruhn Towt. If you're just tuning in now, my guest is Debara Bruhn Towt, who has been for 2 decades, her and her husband have been on a plant-based diet and lifestyle. And as they have said, it's a way of being, which is really nice. So the recipe that I have, and it's really easy, and people have heard about them probably years ago as well, but they're called Power Balls, and this particular recipe is from Trisha Yearwood, who's actually a singer-songwriter as well. There you go, Deborah.
There you go.
And it takes 20 minutes to make them, to make 30 balls. You don't cook them or anything like that.
Nice.
And yes, and so it's gluten-free, dairy-free, and
nice.
the recipe uses rolled oats, but I'm not able to I'm allergic to oats as well, even gluten-free oats. So what I have found is a company called 1 Degree Organic Foods, and they make sprouted ancient maize flakes, and I use the flakes instead of the rolled oats. I also put in a half a cup of quinoa flakes, too, to kind of mix it up. So everyone knows quinoa is like the original grain on the earth, and it's just pure protein. It's really excellent. So I'll give you the recipe. It's 2 cups of old-fashioned rolled oats, if you're able to eat them, and if not, you can use those maize flakes that I mentioned. And going back with the 2 cups, I usually do like a cup and a half of the flakes, the maize flakes, and then a half cup of the quinoa flakes. It's a cup of peanut butter, and it's real peanut butter, just peanuts, grounded into a butter, a half cup of raw honey, and then a half cup of mini chocolate chips. And hopefully you're buying the organic ones. I buy the dairy-free, soy-free, gluten-free, little tiny chocolate chips. Also a half cup of dried cranberries, real cranberries, a half cup of sunflower seeds, and 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. And once you have these ingredients, you just keep them for the next, because what happens is it makes 30 balls, but they go really fast, so you want to make more. But what's nice about them, they're full of protein, and they're really excellent. You can just pop one in if you're feeling, say it's 11 o'clock and you're dipping a little bit before lunch. You can have one, or even like around 4 in the afternoon, you can have a couple, and it takes you, or they're great for if you're camping out, Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, you're camping out or hiking, all those kinds of activities. You can just pack some of these protein balls, power balls as they call them. But they're excellent, and I don't know, you refrigerate them for 30 minutes and you're good to go.
Wow, that sounds so wonderful, and it's so full of goodness. The goodness bars.
Yes.
I mean, everything you are just popping in for like camping or everything you're saying. It is just absolutely loaded with everything you're going to want, and it's amazing that you're getting all that in one little round ball.
Right.
Pretty nice.
And you
can
mix and match too. Instead of using cranberries, you could use other dried fruit. They're neat. They're neat. So do you have a recipe that you like to share? Because I know
I have several. Yeah.
Please, go right ahead.
This one I haven't done in probably several years, but it came to my mind, and I haven't done as much dehydrating. So this would mean that you would want a dehydrator for those. And so that, but I still wanted to share that you can make your own dehydrated crackers, your own dehydrated onions. So what I did is there's a cracker, and it's actually from Revolution, from Matt, and now he's with his sweetheart, and it looks like they're married. It's going to be Amundsen, and it's not Amundsen, but Amundsen. I hope I said it right. But they began in Santa Monica down there. They had this really beautiful little place, and everybody came in. It was many, many years ago. And he's got a book out, and I'm not trying to share, I'm just saying this is really a good book, and I really enjoyed all that he had for the revolution, and his mother started to say, well, let's do something that would, because he had to change his diet because of his health needs. And then he turned it into a store, and now he's just turned it into this whole thing. So